right, hope you're all getting through the week well. Weekend's coming up. Hope you are going to focus on mental health and a whole lot of self-care. Let's now go to our next guest, Art Alexakis from Everclear. Art, how are you? Welcome to the show.
Hey, Dr. Chris, how you doing? I'm doing well, thank you.
Good to see you. I always like to start the show because, here at I'm Listening, Stay Connected, we're trying to normalize talking about mental health. So let me ask you, how is your mental health right now?
Pretty good. Like anybody, I've got worries, I got anxieties, I've got, a little cabin fever. But I'm very fortunate to be here in sunny California with my wonderful family and our wonderful home. And we're, without being too spiritual about it, just a lot of blessings. So, I think we're doing okay. And my wife and I, and even our daughter, we're all very present. We talk about things, and it's been a couple of months now, and we're doing it, and I'm pretty proud of us. But I get a little depressed sometimes. Money's rough, like anybody. I haven't had any work in months. I'm not going to have work till probably late July, August if I'm lucky. And I have income, so the savings are going to be gone.
Well, I love the gratitude, though. I mean, we want to acknowledge everything that's happening, right? Feel all of our feelings, but trying to remind the listeners, but also even the patients that I'm still working with doing teletherapy, that at all times there's sometimes some positive things we can look to, and that can kind of ground us.
Absolutely. Well, I'll tell you one thing. I learned. I thought I had been pretty grounded and grateful for many, many years because I grew up poor, and I'm living my dream. I'm playing guitar in a rock and roll band. I'm 58 years old. I've been doing it for 30 years, making a living at it, making a decent living at it. So that's living the dream for lots of people, but especially for me. But I didn't really learn gratitude until I got diagnosed with multiple sclerosis about 4 years ago, and really learned how good I have it. And I think a lot of people are going through a lot of the same thing now. People who are getting through COVID-19 and getting through all this and seeing things open up a little bit, maybe too soon in some cases. We'll see. But it looks to a lot of people like there's a light at the end of the tunnel. And I think gratitude is playing a big part of it because we're getting through it.
Yeah, well, first off, congrats. I'm always happy to hear that someone's able to live their dream and kind of build a career that's rooted in what's most meaningful to them. So I love hearing that. But let's dive into that piece. 30 plus years in a band, and then all of a sudden, bam, you're like, I'm going to do my thing solo. What is that journey like? It's got to have some anxiety behind that.
Well, a little bit. I've always been the guy that wrote all the songs, produced all the records. Everclear's always been unequivocally a friendly dictatorship. It's my band, for sure. But doing this solo record like this with just me and one other guy in the room for a year, that was different. And yeah, it was exciting in some ways and very scary in some ways. And I love it. I love the end result of it. It's raw, it's rough. Not a lot of processing, Pro Tooling or Auto-Tune. But it got kind of lonely not having people to get feedback from things, from music and ideas back. So to be honest with you, I love doing it, but I don't think I'd ever do it again like this.
Oh man, so this is all we're going to get on that level. All right.
Well, I would do a solo record, just have, cats in the room, pretty much.
I hear that. So let's talk a little bit about, mental health journey. You're doing some political and social activism around drug policy awareness. I think that's so powerful. It's still something that's very much rooted in our culture, but especially in music. And I know in looking at your history that drugs have been something that's touched your life, both personally and also, familially and socially. So talk to us a little bit about that.
Well, I've been clean and sober it'll be 31 years on June 15th.
Congratulations. That is huge.
Oh, thank you. I'm still a screw up in many, many ways, but I'm doing a lot better than if I was still drinking or drugging or not being present about those things. So that being said, I grew up like a lot of people in the late 60s, early 70s, when things started going awry as far as, families and people, divorce rate shot up, and a lot of kids, latchkey kids, that had never been a term before. And I was one of the first of those latchkey kids, being, you know, a 7 or 8 year old back in 1970, coming home from school with a key, and no mom at home. I know that sounds pretty normal now, but at the time it was incredibly scary for a lot of people. Not for me. I was a kid. I thought it was fun because I got away with eating donuts when I wasn't supposed to. But but all joking aside, um, my brother died of a drug overdose when I was 12. A girlfriend died of a drug-induced suicide when I was not much older than that. I've had friends die I've almost died from overdose several times. Been through detox, rehab, even before it was called rehab. Um, so sobriety and AA and NA and 12 step, it's really really worked for me. But I had to make that commitment and I had to make that choice for myself. It was actually, to me, when people make that choice to actually do it, is one of the greatest cases and examples of self-love that you can see, because you're making hard choices for you to be better, and
Yeah.
to be more at peace and out of pain.
And we live in a culture that so roots everything in alcohol consumption. Every holiday, every celebration, it's hard to get away from it. So I know even right now, I'm watching people online and they're starting their drinking in the morning all day long as they're coping to get through the self-isolation. So what do you
I
say
know.
to that?
God bless you. I mean,
That's right.
who am I to judge, man? I mean, I God, a lot of friends, all joking aside, I mean, really, it's just, I just want people to be safe and to be well and to take care of themselves and be gentle with themselves and be loving with themselves, and without sounding overly spiritual. I'm an old school punk rocker, grew up in and out of uh, jail, and so I'm not your average hippie boy. I'm not a hippie by any stretch of the imagination. But having lived life, I do believe that um, love and taking care of yourself and having being connected to yourself and being present is something that's worked for me and made me happier in my life. And when I coach people, um, that's one of the things I talk about. When I do life coaching, it's something that's very very important to me.
Beautiful. Well, again, it's working well for you. So you're a shining example for others that are unsure or struggling, and I'm trying to talk a lot on this show about self-care, right? Whatever you need to do, take care of yourself. But self-care is going to be the things that nourish us, make us feel better, leave us better off afterwards.
Yeah, it's not the most immediate band-aid of like having a drink or eating a bunch of bad food or something like that. It's like, and for me, that's a big deal because I really have to watch my diet with my MS. And I feel better when I eat better. I feel better when I go outside and swim 10 laps every day, 10, 20 laps every day. Um, but at first, it doesn't feel good because you have to work up to it. So it's, and I'm sure you come across this in your teletherapy as well, as like everybody right now in our society is so into instant gratification. And if it doesn't feel good now, it can't be good, right? And that's not the way it works. And as we get older, we realize that.
That's
But
true.
for younger people, it's a challenge, and my heart goes out to them. That's why I say God bless them, man. You got to get through the day,
Yeah.
and if you can do it without hurting yourself or hurting anybody, have at it, man.
It could be
But
a life's work. It could be a life's work, but it's worth it. Let's talk for a minute about the 320 Festival. I'm so thankful that it's still going to be happening online on May 8th through the 10th at 320festival.com. So what's your interest in that? I mean, looking at your background and your history, I can understand your desire to be involved in that, music, mental health. What do you want to come out of this?
well, I mean, I've been involved I've had mental health issues pretty much all my life, and my whole family has, as has most families, whether they want to talk about it or not, or most people. Um, and when it comes to, I was abused when I was 8. I was raped and beaten up, and I've just been through a lot of things that I think I can communicate with. And when Kevin Lyman, who does Warped Tour, came to me with this idea that him and other people were doing for the original live 320 festival, which was going to be downtown LA, I'm in. I told him I'm in. He goes, I don't know what it pays. I go, I don't know what pay. I'll be there. What do you want? Want me to play a couple songs, talk, be on panels? I want to be a part of this from the beginning, because anything that helps to take the that helps take the stigmatism away from the boogeyman word of mental health, I want to be a part of it, because the closer we get to looking at mental health the same way we look at medical health or dental health or anything like that, that doesn't have a stigma about it, then I want to be a part of it, because that's the future. That's how we're all going to get through all this. That's one of the ways that we're going to come together, and we need to come together, as I'm sure you know.
Yeah, so beautifully said. I mean, if we can't even talk about it, then we can't necessarily address it and get the help we need. And you're talking about some things that are so difficult for us to talk about culturally. So thank you for everything you're doing. Your mere presence is healing for a lot of people.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much for having me on. This is really great to talk to you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, congrats on the album, on your sobriety, and thanks for being with us tonight.
Thank you, brother.
Be
well.
Bye-bye. All right, now let's go to Allie Brooke. Allie, welcome to the show. How are you?
Hi, I am doing great, thank you. How are you doing? I'm so happy to be on today, I have to tell you.
Oh, thanks for being a part of it. We're excited to have you, and I'm doing well. I'm trying to do my own work and focus on my mental health, so I'm focusing a lot on self-care. How is your mental health?
It's funny because during this quarantine, well, I'm usually kind of like a positive person. I love being around people. I love working what I do, singing, being out on the road. And I've kind of found that during this quarantine time, I think like everybody, I found that my emotions are kind of up and down. I have my good moments and my challenging moments where I sometimes feel fearful or anxious or unsure about certain things. But right now I'm doing well.
Well, thank you for saying all that. I mean, that was very vulnerable, and I want people to get more familiar hearing others talk about anxiety and fear, because it's a normal part of life, and also like this is a special time. And so I'm also telling people, allow it. Don't panic when these things arise, these new emotions that we're not necessarily familiar with.
Yes, and I love that. And it's so great that, you do see so many people coming forward and being vulnerable in their experiences and what they're feeling. And that makes me as an artist and as a human being just feel like I'm not alone. I feel like a lot of what helps me to get through situations is knowing that I'm not alone. So it's nice that people are coming together during this time. I think it's so beautiful.
Well, looking at a lot of the interviews and things you've posted about and talked about, you've been really good about being very vulnerable and humanizing yourself. You talked a lot about insecurities and empowerment. So talk to us a little bit about your journey around finding empowerment.
Oh man, it's definitely been such a journey. Well, I was in Fifth Harmony, the girl group, and then I transitioned into being a solo artist, which was such a journey in itself, of course. And I had to find the right people around me, the right team, the right support system. They're everything in this business. It feels like they shape you and they make you to an extent. And having that foundation of good people around me, healthy conversations, they challenge me. And they're also people that I can be honest with, and they'll hear me and encourage me, even when I have, moments of not doubting myself, but maybe unsure of a certain decision or what to do about something, that's been everything to me, is having that foundation of a team who I can go to and trust and feel safe with. So yeah, that's really important to me.
It's a vital part of mental health, having a really good community around you that speaks to the best of you. And so that's kind of what I'm telling people to come out of this with. Really check in with, what kind of people do I have around me and the impact they have on me?
It's so true. And I'm learning, I really am learning so much during this quarantine time. I'm learning a lot about myself, and I'm kind of being faced with the mirror, so to speak, of who really is Allie? What's important to her? What makes her tick, or what makes her anxious, or what makes her sad or unhappy? And it's been really powerful to finally kind of come face to face with those emotions and feelings. And I'm working on myself in so many different ways. Of course, always staying creative on my passions and my music. That's my everything, my happy place. But it's nice on a personal level to work on myself. And that's why I'm so happy to be talking to you today, because I've never had an interview like this where I've talked to a doctor like you. And so I feel really safe, and I feel like this is such a nice, it just feels so wonderful to feel vulnerable and safe. I don't have to be a certain way or be like on, you know what I mean?
Yeah, authenticity. It's one of the most important parts of mental health, and I'm really trying to get people to feel comfortable tapping into that, whatever that even means. And so when I say that word to you, what comes up? I mean, one of the things I'd love for you to speak to in reference to authenticity is you were talking about your Mexican heritage, and I know that it was important for you to put out some music that was in the Spanish language. And so representation is a huge part of mental health, seeing ourselves reflected back in the music world and media. So how does that all tie together for you?
Oh my gosh, absolutely. Just being able to be myself through my music and my image and what I put out there is so important. In a group, of course, you're a group, so you have to maintain a certain image and, be part of something. But as a solo artist, it's fully you, everything down from your hair to your makeup to the clothes you wear. I believe fashion is a way to express myself too, and down to every single detail. I've learned just to be myself, as cliche as it sounds. I've actually had a hard time struggling with that in this business, because you get so many opinions, and social media doesn't help all the time, even though now it's become so much better. But it's so important for me to represent who I am, which is a Mexican-American girl from Texas, all my different fusions of culture and family and what that is, and put that in my music, as well as, the other influences that I have. It's really great to be encouraged too by my team around me to say, hey, Allie, like, we're here to represent what you want, not to tell you who to be or what songs to put out. And that's everything to an artist.
Well, congratulations, because a lot of people may be stepping out from being in a girl group where they have other people that are taking some of the tension, and it's not specifically and only on them. I mean, you've risen to the occasion. I can hear the empowerment when you talk about being yourself and standing on your own. So congratulations on that.
Thank you so much. It has been such a journey, and to get here, truly. And I'm actually writing a book, and I'm so excited about it. And you'll see in my book just how big and broad, and how in ways very difficult my journey has been, but how I've learned to find myself, and how I got from A to B. So I can't wait for people to hear my story, and hopefully it inspires people to go after their dreams and to be their best selves in this world, because it's so powerful and it's so freeing when you can truly just stand up on your own and say, this is who I am, and you have all the confidence in the world.
Well, I'm excited for you. A book is just yet another level of vulnerability to putting more of yourself out there.
Yes. And I actually have a hard time being vulnerable. I feel like I've gotten better at that in the past few months. But I think it's something, I don't know, I guess I feel like sometimes as an artist, I want to be the strong woman for people in this light. But I realize that just because you're vulnerable doesn't mean you're weak. That actually is such a big strength. And so it's been a journey. And yeah, I'm a little not nervous about the book, but being so vulnerable, it is scary. But I'm also 100% more than excited, more than proud of what it is. And I know the day that it comes out, it's going to be a milestone for me, and it's going to feel like nothing else in the world.
Yes, stay in that vulnerability, because I'll tell you, it's a beautiful thing, and it is empowering to see someone living and standing in their power, but we often feel closest to someone when they're willing to share their weaknesses with us, and that's what really feels most transformative. So keep doing that. And quickly, tell me a little bit about self-care. I'm asking everyone about that as well. What are you doing in this time right now to really focus on self-care?
Well, for me, that's like an umbrella of so many different things. I guess things that make me do feel better is even something as simple as baking or cooking. I love doing that. It's very therapeutic for me. Also, taking time when I need time to just decompress or like watch a movie or not like work or think about work. I'll do that. I also love when I can talking to my friends or my parents about my feelings or about my day, just to not feel alone and to help me through my emotions during this time. But those are kind of some of the things. Does that count what I said?
100%. I mean, self-care is whatever we can do that uplifts us, nourishes us, leaves us feeling better. And I smirk when you said cooking, because I smirk whenever someone says cooking, because I'm fighting it. I don't want to do it. I refuse.
Oh, I love that. We're totally opposite.
Yeah.
I find that it's just so therapeutic for me. I mean, the dishes, well, actually, washing the dishes too is a little therapeutic as well.
All right, come on over and wash mine then. I'll give you all the self-care you want. They're loaded up and waiting.
Right. I might have to go to your house and do some cooking and washing.
All right, please. So I want to ask you about music and its impact on mental health. But before we do, I want to congratulate you. All Night with Afrojack hit #1. Congrats. That's big. Well done.
Thank you. Oh my gosh, thank you. It's such an amazing feeling. I can't really describe it. You know, again, going from a group to a solo artist and then working so hard at something and having my first #1. It went #1 at dance radio. It was so incredible. So I celebrated that, and I'm so proud of that record too, because it's just a feel-good, positive, fun song that everyone can listen to and everyone can feel good and free. And I'm so glad that people have loved it. There's really no greater feeling.
Yeah, we need more uplifting music like that. But we're going to listen to a quick clip of All Night right now.
Out of my mind, out every night, just so I could feel this way. Out of control, irrational, now that you're stuck on my brain. Something about the way you're following my lead says you wanna leave the party with me. I've been hearing love songs playing in my dreams. I got your name written all over me. Oh, we're in it together, an infinite high, and we can keep on dancing all night. We don't need forever, but now it feels right. Yeah, we can keep on dancing all night, and we can keep on dancing all night. Yeah, we can keep on dancing all night. Where have you
All right. I saw you bopping. We were all bopping over here in the studio too. That's a good one.
Hey, thank you. I love that song. And it's so awesome to be working with Afrojack. Like, I'm such a fan. So
Oh,
It's
I've been a
just
fan forever as well. Phenomenal stuff. So talk to us about mental health and music. How do you think mental health has impacted music and your music has impacted your mental health?
Oh my gosh, music is therapy. Music, it expresses you in a way that real words can't. And I just have a million thoughts about that. For me, when I hear music, it just takes me to a whole different place. It uplifts my mood. It encourages me. It can turn a bad day into a good day. It can help me to find inner strength. It can help me to find confidence or to find resolution with something. I really believe in music heals. And for me, being able to create that music is such a blessing and a gift. Oh my God. And being able to make someone feel that way through my music is an enormous, enormous blessing. And all of it is linked together. You know, fans come up to me or they write me on social media and they tell me how my music has impacted them or helped them out of a dark situation or helped them find their faith or whatever. And it is such a beautiful feeling.
I love that. I've worked with so many clients that have said the same thing where music has literally saved them. It's helped them express or feel something they couldn't otherwise.
Yes, it is so true. And I just feel when I'm singing, I feel so brave on that stage and like a different person, and that I can fully be myself, you know, and it's hard as a woman and just as people sometimes to feel like you can be who you are and accepted, blah, blah, blah. So yeah, music just makes me feel like nothing in this world does.
Beautiful. Ali, we had some questions that came in from fans I'd love for you to answer with us.
Of course.
This first question asks, besides seeing your fans and performing, what are you most excited about and looking forward to when you're able to tour again?
Oh, I love that. Traveling, for sure. Being able to finish the tour and go to the different cities that I wasn't able to go to, including my hometown, San Antonio, and including Florida. Maybe I can make a trip to Disney World if it opens up when that happens. And then New York. Yeah, I'm so excited to travel again, see my favorites.
Beautiful. This other question asks, what is your best advice for someone who's on the journey to love themselves?
Man, best advice. Just know that it is a journey. And, you know, I'm in my 20s and I feel like I'm still, I don't want to say discovering that because I love myself. But, you know, it's a battle. It's a daily battle to feel good and to feel complete and to feel whole and to not feel insecure. Oh my gosh. But know that if you put your best foot forward and you continue to work on yourself and be kind to yourself, give yourself credit. I think that's the number one thing I would say. You know, if you need a moment to cry, or you need a moment to be emotional, don't try to just push it all down. Feel that. And know that you really do have so much worth. Don't compare yourself to other people. That is toxic. Oh my gosh. Please take it from me. But yeah, just be kind to yourself and take it day by day.
Ali, that was stunning. There's so much in there. Don't compare yourself to others. Have care and compassion for yourself. Feel all your feelings. It's a life's journey. That was really solid. We have another question. This one asks, what has been your favorite quarantine pastime or one new thing you've learned?
Well, going back to cooking and baking, that
Always.
right? I'm a foodie, so I just love food. I love to bake, love to cook, blah, blah, blah. But also, I love watching films. Getting lost in a movie is one of my favorite things. I recently saw Forrest Gump for the first time, and I bawled. It was so beautiful. And there's so many movies that I've caught up on that it takes me to an entirely new place and a new world. And I love that film for me is also like therapy. It just brings me so much joy. So I think watching movies.
All right. And we have one final question. This is a good one. It says, how far along are you in your book? Also, can you tell us when What Are We Waiting For is coming out? So excited.
Yes. Okay. So my book is basically done. I'm in the final stages of it. So that's huge for me because it was such a long process. And I have such care for this book that I'm at a place where I feel so proud and I'm just kind of tweaking, nitpicking, cleaning it up. So that's exciting. It'll come out this fall, 2020. And then what are we waiting for? I believe that will come out in the next 3 to 4 weeks.
All right.
Yeah. But also another Afrojack one. Ow!
Allie Brooke, thank you so much for being a part of the show and for doing everything you're doing. The positivity is emanating off of you.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you for the kind words. I love chatting with you.
Have a great night.